As stated, today's parade is not just a commemoration of Ukrainian village, but it is also a commemoration of the 21st anniversary of Ukraine's independence. For a human being, 21 years is a considerable part of life. But for a nation, this is a mere moment in time. The path to independence was long and hard. Historical records note that in the 10th and 11th centuries, Kievan Rus, a predecessor to modern-day Ukraine, was the most powerful and influential country in Europe. We also need to remember the Cossack state of Hetman Bogdan Khmelnytsky, the fight for independence by Hetman Ivan Mazeppa, and the periods of independence in the 20th century. The Ukrainian People's Republic of 1918-1921, the Carpatho-Ukrainian Republic of 1939, the Declaration of Independence in June 1941, and of course, the Restoration of Independence, August 24th, 1991. It took many centuries and countless millions of lives, but on August 24th, 1991, Ukraine joined the family of nations and proclaimed itself a free and independent state. It is also interesting to note that three symbols created a monument that were used continuously by all modern Ukrainian national governments, those being the blue and yellow Ukrainian national flag, the trezub, or the trident, and Ukrainian national anthem, Ще не вмерла Україна, or Ukraine has not perished, and of course, the Ukrainian language. I could dwell upon the shortcomings and negative impressions that are perpetuated and quite honestly perpetrated by not just the European media, but also by American media, but most viciously by Russia and President Putin, who not long ago stated in an interview that Ukraine is not a real country. The lambasting about the unpreparedness of Ukraine to host the Euro Cup this year and other smug and petty insults are simply lies and don't stand up to scrutiny. But today is a day of celebration. And much like our American Independence Day, July 4th, when we as a nation celebrate the absolute joy of living in the greatest country in the world, a day when we are not black, white, Hispanic, or Asian, a day when we're not Democrats, Republicans, Tea Party members, a day when religious groups of every stripe are one thing and one thing only, Americans. And so, in this spirit, today, we are not Eastern Ukrainians, we are not Western Ukrainians, we're not Catholic, Orthodox, or Baptists. We're not supporters of our Ukraine, Svoboda, Batyivshchina, or even the Regione, but we are all Ukrainians. Our detractors state that Ukraine is a failed state, and yet in the true definition of a failed state, this is far from true. What Ukraine has achieved in 21 years is actually quite impressive. Ukraine is recognized by the whole world as a responsible member of the international community, peace-loving and tolerant. Our path from statehood aspirations to the independence of present, we passed peacefully without any external or internal conflicts or bloodshed. Upon the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine inherited the third largest nuclear arsenal. However, on appeal of the world community, and the United States in particular, Ukraine made a voluntary decision to eliminate this most powerful type of armament and contribute to global peace, stability, and security. Ukraine has solved all of its boundary issues with neighboring countries in a friendly and peaceful manner. The process was based on international law and resulted in bilateral agreements, again, contributing to regional security and stability. Ukraine has participated in almost all international peacekeeping and humanitarian operations under the auspices of the United Nations, NATO, and the European Union. Ukraine is convinced that world security is a common responsibility and will continue to play an active part in these joint efforts. Ukraine strives to maintain the relations of friendship and constructive, mutually beneficial cooperation with all countries, at the same time maintaining and determining its foreign policy priorities, namely integration into the European Union, strategic partnership with the United States, forging of constructive dialogue and strategic cooperation with Ukraine's main trading partners, increased energy independence, and recently, the signing of an agreement with American energy leaders Chevron and Mobil Exxon to explore and develop the gas deposits on the Black Sea shelf. Ukraine has all the preconditions to become an economic leader in eastern Ukraine, using its rich natural resources, educated workforce, advantageous geographic location, and a large and efficient heritage in science and technology. The broad industrial base, including much of the former Soviet Union's rocket and space industry, has made Ukraine a member of the Space Power Club excuse me, and an active participant in space exploration. The substantial aircraft manufacturing facilities have produced the largest heavy-lift aircraft, the Mriya and Ruslan. No country has bested Ukraine in this sphere. Ukraine's metal industries produce ferrous metals, cast iron, steel and steel pipe, and its chemical industries produce fertilizers and acids, much sought. Manufactured goods, in particularly airplanes, turbines, metallurgical equipment, diesel locomotives, and tractors, are much sought after. Ukraine is the 10th largest exporter in the world, contributing to the UN World Food Program. It is a major producer of grain, sunflower seed, and beet sugar, and one of the largest exporters of barley, rapeseed, and corn. Being the 6th largest producer of wheat, producing an average of 40 to 50 million tons, can be doubled if Ukraine implements intensive and effective agricultural reforms, thus truly becoming the breadbasket to the world. The successful implementation and completion of Euro Cup 2012, the success of the 2012 Ukrainian Olympic team, winning the Palme d'Or in Cannes for a short film, Podorozhny, by director Ihor Diaczyn, the winning of Eurovision by Ruslana in 2005, the dominance in the sport of boxing by the Klitschko brothers, all add to Ukraine's incredible list of accomplishments. The Orange Revolution, which galvanized Ukrainian society, also showed the world that Ukrainians will stand up for their rights and force the rerun of a fraud-tainted election, a truly important step for a maturing society. This was truly the catalyst for other colored revolutions and the Arab Spring. And even though in recent months we have seen backsliding by the Yanukovych government, which bothers all of us, in the end, Ukraine must take collective responsibility for its future governance, for its future and governance, and must stop waiting and relying on some single savior to answer its call for SOS. At 21, even a child is forced to grow up. The salvation of Ukraine must come from grassrooted patriotic zeal. So may the winter of Ukraine's discontent be followed by a Kyiv spring. Слава Україні!